Okay, I'm sitting down for this because framing. All right, so this is going to be a real quick run through of making solutions B. I'm not going to actually do it because I'm not dressed for lab, so I'm not going to actually have any chemicals out, obviously. So yeah, first thing I want to mention is that with your glass funnel, much like spatulas, glass funnels are to be kept on a paper towel at all times. That is so that if anything runs down the inside, because once you've used it, there's going to be liquid on the inside of it. Anything that runs down, that way winds up on the paper towel, which makes cleanup a little easier. So to start off with this lab, we need 50 mils of water. It does not have to be exactly 50 milliliters. You just want about 50 milliliters so you can dissolve your sodium hydroxide. So you'll pour the water into your beaker, then fill this up to about 50 mils, which is going to be roughly halfway up. Once you've done that, you can pour the water from your graduated cylinder into your Erlenmeyer, and you have done half of the procedure. Well, a third of the procedure. At this point, you're not done with your graduated cylinder, but we're going to lay it down so it's not standing up so you don't knock it over. You know who you are. And then this we're going to set aside because we need to now get our sodium hydroxide. Now, this is the first point where you are going to run into error. Okay? The balance is only capable of giving you 2 decibels. So that means that you're going to have error here because you all have either 4 or 5 decimals on the number that you're after. So you can't get exactly the number you want. You're going to try to get as close as you can. Under or over, either way, you want to get as close as you can to it. Whatever you take out of here, you must use. You cannot put anything back in this bottle. You're chemistry students, you should know better, so I shouldn't have to remind you of this, hopefully, but do not put anything back. Okay? When you go, which one's which? Okay. When you go to extract out of this, remember, you can tilt the bottle sideways while you are scooping out of it, and you want to hold this so that it is over the weigh boat while you are pulling stuff out. That way, if you drop anything, it lands in your weigh boat. Anything you pick up with your spatula, you have to use. So when you're getting close to the end, you might only want to pull out 1 or 2 pieces at a time. Okay, these are pellets. Unfortunately, I think you guys are going to have to use flakes, which means that you may also need a powder funnel, which is something we'll talk about when you're doing this in class. That's going to make this a little more complicated because the flakes dissolve easier, but they are harder to get from the weigh boat into the Erlenmeyer. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem. You may have to hold the powder funnel in place and smash some of the flakes with your spatula. We'll talk more about that again when we get there. Yeah, so you get your weigh boat. You don't want to leave the chemical sit in here for too long. Sodium hydroxide is extremely hygroscopic. That means it's going to pull moisture out of the air, and it's going to sit there and get wet and sticky. And once it's sticky, it's a lot harder to get it out of this container. So you'll take this. Remember, you can pinch it so that less can come out at once, and then dump stuff in. If you need a powder funnel, that's an actual plastic funnel. Then you'll put that over and dump this into the powder funnel. You may have to tap it if it has gotten some stuff stuck to the inside of it, but you have to get all the pieces out. You can always use your spatula to scrape stuff out if it's stuck. Then this is trash. Then you have to dissolve all of the sodium hydroxide in here before you can put the rest of the water in. You don't want to let this sit for long because same thing, the sodium hydroxide will get stuck to the bottom of the Erlenmeyer and it will take longer to dissolve. So once you've got everything in, you're going to want to swirl this. Do not put the lid on for this. This is going to get very hot. And if you have the cork, if you have the stopper in it, pressure will build up inside of this and it can launch the stopper out. And since there's going to be moisture accumulating all over the inside because of the heat, you can actually have a small explosion of sodium hydroxide solution, which happened to one of my Chems 2 students this year. So yeah, don't put the cork on while you're swirling it. Once all of it is dissolved, which means when there is absolutely no solid material left in the bottom of this, then you have to pour this back into here. That is what the glass funnel is for. So you put the funnel in the graduated cylinder and then just pour it. Okay, don't dump it all at once, but the more careful you are, the more hesitant you are here, the more likely it is that a bunch of this is going to run down the side and you're going to have to start over. Okay, this is the first potential start over point. Okay, so pour confidently so you don't have a bunch of this run down the side, because if that happens, you will have to start over. Don't get rid of this. You're going to need it still. Let's set it aside now. Once all of it has drained, which will take a little while, it's not going to immediately flow through. There is a bottleneck in the funnel here. Take this out, put it upside down, back on your paper towel, and then the fun part. And by fun, I mean really annoying. You need to fill this up to the 100 ml line. But if you go past the 100 milliliter line, you must start over. Completely start over. Okay, better to end at 97 and have your concentration a little off than to go up over the 100 ml, because the topmost line on these graduated cylinders is 100 milliliters. There is nothing above that. If you pass that line, your volume is invalid. There is no way to accurately determine how much solution you have. And at that point, you cannot accurately determine what concentration it is. So you have to dispose of all of this and start over from scratch. Don't put yourself through that. Now, something my Chem 2 students did at this point when they got here, they actually went and got droppers and used droppers to add the water to get close without as much concern of going over. And if you want to do that, you can. You'll have to add a dropper to your glassware list if you do. And you can write that in the margin outside the table. I didn't dock anybody for not having droppers. But if you use it, you have to go back and add it. So, something to keep in mind. Once you have filled this to whatever volume, I skipped a step. Good thing you're watching this the whole way through. Make sure you record your exact mass in your data table before you pour it into your Erlenmeyer. You need to know this number for later. Ditto this. You need to know your exact volume off of your graduated cylinder. Remember, it's going to be 1 decimal. Then this gets poured back into here, carefully so you don't spill it. Then you are not going to put the cork in the Erlenmeyer. All of you are going to have extremely hot solutions when this is done. This is an extremely exothermic reaction. So what I want you to do is set your cork at an angle so that steam can get out. That way, as the solution cools, it's not going to suck the cork down in, which can make it extremely difficult to get out. And as one of you found out today in class, cork coming down too far can actually shatter the Erlenmeyer. So don't break another Erlenmeyer. So set this on the side like this. During advisory, well, for first hour during advisory, we'll tilt those. 5th hour, we'll probably have to wait till the next day to put the corks down in properly, but yeah. After that, it's business as usual. Any liquid on your table, you treat as dangerous, and you neutralize it with baking soda. Base won't fizz like acid does. Okay, so you're not going to be able to tell based on whether it fizzes or not whether it was dangerous. You have to actually assume everything is dangerous. Remember, if you pick up a container and there's a ring of liquid, neutralize the ring, then put the container back down on top of it to neutralize anything on the bottom. Wash everything, same as last time. Make sure you get all the ink off of everything, then put everything away properly. On the acid lab, most of you did not put things up properly. You shouldn't be just chucking stuff into the cabinet. There is a neat, organized way to put stuff in there. If you're not sure, ask. I'll show you how to put it up properly. You won't have to do anything with the balances. You'll be sharing balances because I only have like 6 of these. And I think that's it. Hopefully it is. With that said, I'll see y'all on, well, I'm not going to say what day in case I want to reuse this, but I'll see y'all when we do this in class. And have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it happens to be. And I'll see y'all next time.